Hello everyone and welcome back to your one and only favorite channel, Let's Crack NEET UG in English. I'm Aditi Gupta, your biology educator. And in today's class of Morphology of Flowering Plants, we're going to discuss about the structural details of the flower. Okay, the reproductive structure of the plant. Okay, we have already seen about the morphological details and the modifications of root, stem, leaf, and the different type of inflorescence which are found in case of flowering plant. And in today's class, we are going to learn about the structure of flower and its different characteristics along with its modification. Okay, guys? So, come on, let's begin today's session. But before proceeding, first let me introduce myself and tell you something really important about Unacademy that's really gonna help you in your NEET UG preparation. Okay? This is the link to our Telegram channel. You can stay connected to all of us with the help of this Telegram channel. All the upcoming lectures, the details of the upcoming lectures are provided here. Okay. Now, talking about myself, so my name is Aditi Gupta, and I have been mentoring students for the past 6 years for their NEET UG preparation. Many students of mine are in their dream medical college, and now it's your turn, guys. So do not miss this golden opportunity. Okay. Work hard, and really, we are going to make your dream come true. Okay. You are well aware of the fact that educators from topmost team of educators from all across the country are on board, are on this amazing platform called Unacademy. How can you be under their guidance? How can you ensure, or how can you get their valuable guidance, and you can be under their mentorship? The one step solution is to go for Unacademy subscription. So let me tell you, how can you proceed for Unacademy subscription and what are the benefits of having Unacademy subscription? Guys, first of all, you need to download Unacademy Learning app from Play Store or iOS, depending upon your requirement. This learning app has some absolutely free of cost features like the special classes, the quiz features, and various contests which we organize from time to time, right? So all these are absolutely available free of cost. Talking about my timings of special classes on Unacademy Learning app, so I'm live at 11:30 a.m. on Unacademy Learning app for my special classes. Okay. So talking about the contest, so Unacademy is going to organize Unacademy Combat. That's India's largest fortnightly competition for NEET UG exam under the NEET UG category. Okay, so what is it? What is it exactly? So students from all across the country are going to compete in this particular contest, which is Unacademy Combat. Okay, the question paper will be specifically designed by the best educators of the Unacademy, and you will be provided by your live performance, what you are performing as compared relative to the to other students. Live will be provided to you, right? Then you will be provided with detailed solution of the question paper which was designed by the educators, right? So that you get to know what are the correct answers and what's the reason behind those answers. Okay, your score will be provided to you with the help of the leaderboard. Okay, and then the winners will be awarded various amazing prizes as shown here on the screen. Okay, guys, so do not miss this golden opportunity. Go enroll yourself for Unacademy NEET Combat, and you need to download Unacademy Learning app for enrolling yourself. Save the date. It's on November 29th, and the timings are 11 a.m. And it is for all those students who are currently in class 11th, class 12th, or 12th pass out students. Okay, and specifically the questions will be asked from all the three subjects, physics, chemistry, and biology. Okay, the time duration of the test is 60 minutes and 28 questions will be asked. Okay, guys, now moving ahead, this test will be conducted every alternate Sundays. Okay, the syllabus is mentioned over here. For class 11, the syllabus is mentioned over here for all the three subjects, for 12th as well as for 12th pass out students. Okay, guys, so that's the syllabus. Go check out all the details, download Unacademy Learning app, and enroll yourself. And do not forget to use my referral code AG001. Okay, this is my referral code, guys. Now, this was one of the absolutely free of cost features available to you from Unacademy Learning app. Now, talking about the subscription part. So, Unacademy subscription has two platforms, Unacademy Plus and Unacademy Iconic. In both the platforms, students, you will be getting daily interactive live classes of all the three subjects from the topmost team of educators, along with a regular dedicated doubt clearing session. The complete NEET UG syllabus is covered in a detailed manner along with the PDF notes. And your performance is evaluated on the basis of live tests and quizzes. You will be provided unlimited access. That means, see, there are 50 plus educators on Unacademy subscription platform. Their video lectures, their PDF notes, and their personalized test papers will be made accessible to you with a single subscription. Talking about Unacademy Iconic, it also has all these benefits, but it has some out of the box features like you will be getting your own personal coach, okay, who will be there to guide you in each and every step of your NEET UG preparation. Okay, you will be getting your own personalized study planner, which will be designed specifically considering your strengths and your weaknesses. Then in-depth test analysis. With the help of that, you will get to know what mistakes you are making and what's the reason behind those mistakes, so that you can go back and rectify them and never repeat those mistakes again, because NEET examination is a highly competitive exam and the margin of error is very, very, very less, right? So we cannot take any risk. And from time to time, you will be getting expert motivational sessions to keep you motivated, to keep you enthusiastic throughout your preparation journey. So these were the benefits of Unacademy Plus as well as Iconic subscription, guys. Now there are multiple plans available for both Plus as well as Iconic. It is advisable that 10 pass out students should go for 2 year of subscription plan, whereas 12th pass out or 12th studying should go for 1 year of subscription plan, because we need at least 1 year or 2 year of time to conceptually go for NEET UG preparation, right? Students who are targeting NEET 2021 can also go for the 6 months of subscription plan. That's best for you. Let's say you have decided to go for, let's say, 2 years of subscription plan for Iconic. It costs you rupees 1 lakh. But here is the good news for you. If you use my referral code AG001, you will be getting an instant 10% discount. That means now you have to pay only rupees 90,000 instead of this 1 lakh. Okay, and this referral code AG001 is applicable for all the courses which you want to take under Unacademy platform. Okay, guys. So that was the important information. Now moving ahead, let us go through the structure of flower in detail. So guys, this is the structure of flower. We know that the flower, develops on a floral shoot. Okay, floral shoot or floral axis. So basically, floral axis is a modified shoot, right? What happens? We know that in shoot, stem is present and the stem has nodes as well as internodes. What happens in the floral axis? It is a modified shoot where the nodes are present near to each other, because the internodes are highly condensed or highly compressed. Due to which what happens, the structures which are present at each of the nodes, they are present so close to each other. Okay, and there are certain evidences also which prove that yes, flower is a modified shoot. Okay, now the structure which on which different floral parts develop is known as receptacle or thalamus. Okay, so let's say the stalk-like structure through which the flower is connected is the pedicel. This is the pedicel. Okay, now this pedicel is swollen. Okay, this pedicel is swollen, and this swollen portion is known as the thalamus or receptacle. On this thalamus or receptacle, different floral parts are present. There are total 4 floral rolls or 4 circles of different parts of flowers. Okay, so that 4 rolls are basically on the outermost roll. On the outermost roll, that means on the 4th roll, calyx are present. Or I must say, sepals are present. Okay, the group of sepals collectively are known as calyx. Just inner to the sepal, on the 3rd roll, petals are present, the bright colorful structure, right? And the group of petals all together are known as corolla. Okay, I hope this point is clear. Just inner to the petal, stamens are present. That means on the 2nd roll, stamens are present, and the group of stamens collectively are known as androecium. Okay, and on the innermost roll, that means in the center one, okay, carpels are present, and in the 1st roll, what is present? Carpel are present, and collectively they are termed as gynoecium. So these are the 4 rolls of the flower, and when all the 4 floral parts are present in any flower, then they are known as the complete flower. When any single part is missing, then it is known as incomplete flower. Okay, out of these 4 rolls, 2 rows have accessory rows, whereas 2 rows are essential for the process of reproduction to take place. Those two roles are the androecium and the gynoecium. Okay, let us go through this image which is shown over here on the screen. You can see this stalk-like structure is the pedicel. Okay, it has a flat base which is the receptacle or the thalamus. This one is the thalamus or the receptacle. Now on the outermost roll, this green color structure called sepal is present, right? Its function is to provide protection to all the structures which are present inside it. That means to the petals, to the androecium, and to the gynoecium. Then inner to it is the third roll, which is the petal, collectively known as the corolla. They are bright in color, they are large in color, not always, but they are, generally they are bright and they are easily visible. Okay, so basically they have two important roles. They attract the pollination agents like the insects, and also they protect the structures which are present inner to them. That means the androecium and the gynoecium. Okay, so these calyx and corolla, they have accessory roles. They are not directly involved in the process of reproduction. Therefore, they are non-essential role of the flower. Now, moving towards the essential role of the flower, in the just inner to the corolla is present stamens, and all the stamens collectively are referred to as androecium. And in the centermost region is present the carpel, which is known as gynoecium. Okay, guys, you can see, I'll be discussing the detailed structure of the stamen as well as the carpel when we will be discussing them in detail separately. Okay, therefore I'm not discussing all the specific structures over here. Okay, guys. Now that was the complete structure of flower. Now, sometimes what happens, the sepal and the petal, they are not present, distinguished. They are present, they resemble like they are present, attached to each other. Okay, when sepal and petal, when they are not present in a different role, when they are present together, then a different name is given to that particular structure, which is known as tepal. Okay, so it is believed that when sepal and petal fuses, so this structure is known as what? Tepal. And the group of tepal collectively is known as what? It is known as the perianth. Group of tepal is known as what? Perianth. Okay, we see this perianth in lilium, like lily. Okay, lily is an example where we observe this perianth. We will be observing all various astonishing features related to flower in detail in today's class. Okay, guys. Now moving ahead, see, I have included some definition and also the type of flowers. So I've already introduced what's perianth, when the calyx and the corolla are not present, not distinctly present. They are known as perianth. And the unit of perianth is what? It is sepal. Now, flower can be unisexual, flower can be bisexual. What are the meaning of these terms? Unisexual means a flower has only one sex. That means it may contain either the male sex organ or it may contain either only the female sex organ. That means it will be having either only the stamen or only the carpel part. Those flowers are known as unisexual flowers. Most famous examples are the zea mays, cucurbita, Cocos nucifera, that means the coconut, right? Now talking about the bisexual flowers. So when the flower has both male and female sex organs in the same structure, it is known as bisexual flower. Okay, that means that the stamen and the carpel are present together. Example, hibiscus, that means China rose, rosa, the normal rose which we observe. Okay, so these are the two different types of flowers which are found in the nature. Now talking about a different term which is polygamous plant. Polygamous plant. What is the meaning of this particular plant? Basically, this plant is going to have all the different types of flowers. That means unisexual flower also, bisexual flower also, and neutral flower also. Neutral flower means they won't be having any sex organ, neither the male nor the female. Okay. So polygamous flower means unisexual, bisexual, and neutral flowers are present in the same plant. Example includes Polygonum, Mangifera, Lychee. So these are some examples of the polygamous plant. Okay, guys. Now we have seen the structure of flower. We have seen the types of flowers. Now let us go through the symmetry of flower. As in humans or in case of animals, we study about the symmetry of animals. It is either radial or bilateral symmetry. Similarly, when we discuss about the symmetry of flower, there are three different terms. First one is actinomorphic. You can relate this actinomorphic symmetry to the radial symmetry which we observe in case of animals. What happens here? The flower is divided in, when the flower is divided by any vertical plane that passes through the center of the flower, it divides the flower into two equal halves. And see in this particular image, different planes are observed here, are shown over here. And you cut the flower by any given plane, it will be divided into exactly two halves. That means there are more than one possible plane where, you can pass the plane, dividing plane, and it distributes the flower into two dividing axes. And this is the example of actinomorphic symmetry. Now I'm going through the definition. That means when the flower is divided by any vertical plane into two halves, then it is known as actinomorphic flower. Example includes mustard and China rose. So mustard and China rose, they are what? They are actinomorphic flower. Okay. Moving ahead towards the next type of symmetry, which is the zygomorphic. You can relate this zygomorphic symmetry with that of bilateral symmetry, where with the division into two equal halves was possible only by single plane, right? So when the flower is divided into two equal halves only by one vertical plane, then it is known as zygomorphic symmetry. Example includes P. Okay, Pisum sativa. Similarly, the another term is asymmetrical structure. That means, none of the plane can divide the flower into two equal halves. And the flower cannot be divided into two equal halves from any possible planes. It is called asymmetrical flower. And the famous example is canna. So that means canna cannot have symmetry. So this canna cannot have symmetry. Through this, you can try to remember the example of this asymmetrical flower. Okay, guys? So this was about the symmetry of flower. Now moving ahead, and let us go through the arrangement of different floral structures as compared, relative to the position of the gynoecium or the carpel. Okay, so in this particular portion, what we are going to learn? We are going to learn the arrangement of all the different floral parts with respect to the gynoecium. And on this basis, there are three different types of, gynoecium condition possible. Hypogynous, okay, perigynous, and epigynous condition. Okay, what happens when, when the petal, sepal, stamen, okay, all the three outer rolls of the flower, when they are present below the ovary, hypo is below, gynous is for ovary, that means below the ovary. What structures? That means the petal, sepal, and stamen. See the outermost sepal, then the petal and the stamen. Okay, they are present just below the point of, origin of ovary. This type of ovary is known as hypogynous condition, where gynous, that means the ovary is present above in the topmost roll, right? Example includes the mustard. Okay, so in mustard plant we have seen hypogynous condition. Okay, guys. Moving ahead, the next condition is perigynous condition. Now what happens in this condition? The thalamus on which different floral parts are present, it grows upward. Okay, it grows upward and form a cup-like structure. Now what happens? Initially the thalamus was like this, flat, and all the four different parts are present here. Now what happens if this thalamus, it modifies and grows in a cup-like structure? Now what happens? This was the topmost part of the thalamus, and here the carpel was present, right? Although, all different floral parts were present below to the carpel, but due to this modification, they seem to be present at the level of the carpel. Okay. So what happens in it? Thalamus grows upwardly and form a cup-shaped structure. On the margin of the thalamus, floral parts are attached except gynoecium. Gynoecium is present in the center only. You can see here. This is the thalamus which has modified into a cup-shaped structure. Now this is the margin, and you can see in the margin the sepal is present, the petal is present, and the stamen is present, whereas the gynoecium is present in the center only. Okay, so here what happens? The ovary, all the other parts, they appear to be present at the level of the ovary, but exactly they are not present at the level of the ovary. Okay, so what happens? This condition is known as half superior or half inferior. An example includes rose, plum, peach, primrose. These are the common examples of the perigynous condition. So we can say peri means, all the other floral parts, they are present surrounding the structure of the ovary. Okay, they are present in the peripheral part of the ovary. Okay, so this is the perigynous condition. Moving ahead towards the next condition, which is the epigynous condition. Now, what's this epigynous condition, guys? Epi is upon, gynous means ovary. That means upon the ovary. That means what happens when all the other three roles, that is the petal, sepal, and stamen, are situated above the ovary. Okay, so this was the thalamus, and you can clearly see that the sepal, petal, and stamen, they are present above the level of the ovary, and that is why this type of ovary is known as, the ovary is said to be inferior, then the rest of the floral parts are superior, right? So example includes the sunflower, guava, and apple. So these are the different types of conditions of ovary on the basis of attachment of the different floral parts. Okay, in the hypogynous condition, the ovary was superior because it was present in the topmost part. In the perigynous condition, ovary is neither superior nor inferior because they are present almost parallel to the level of the ovary. That is why it is half superior or half inferior. Whereas in the epigynous condition, the ovary is inferior. It is present below the other three floral rows. So these are the three different types of structures. Okay. Now moving ahead, let us go through each and every role in detail. Starting with the calyx, the outermost role. We know that each and every member of this role calyx is known as the sepal. Okay. And these sepals can be present in two conditions. Either in the free form, that means the sepals are present independent of each other, or in the fused form, that means the sepals are fused. Okay, the sepals are what? The sepals are fused with each other. So when all the sepals are free from each other, then this condition is known as polysepalous condition. Example include mustard radish. Whereas when the sepals are fused with each other, then it is known as gamosepalous condition, and the most practical example which you must have seen is brinjal. So next time when you encounter or when you see a brinjal, do focus on this fact that it does have green color structure, that are those are the sepals, and those are present, in the gamosepalous condition, that means fused with each other. Other example includes cotton, datura, and brinjal as said. Okay, so these are the two different conditions of the calyx possible. Moving ahead toward the next role, which is the corolla, which is present just inner to the calyx, and its individual part is known as the petals. Okay. Now what happens when the different numbers of petals which are present in the plants, when the shape and size of the petals are similar, then it is known as symmetrical in nature. That means the flower is symmetrical and it does have, all the petals are shape and size are similar. Whereas when the petals have different shape and different size in a single flower only, then it is known as asymmetrical in nature. Okay. As in calyx, here also in corolla, when all the petals are present in the free form, then it is known as polypetalous condition. Whereas when the petals are present in the fused form, then it is known as gamopetalous condition. Gamo is marriage, together, right? So when they are present in a fused form, they are known as gamopetalous condition. Okay, guys. So moving ahead, different floral parts. See, the sepal or the petal, specifically the petal, the arrangement of petal in a flower is studied, in a topic which is known as estivation. So what happens in estivation? The calyx and corolla in the calyx and corolla, the arrangement of petals with respect to the other petals, or the arrangement of sepal with the other sepal, is known as the estivation. Okay, remember the inflorescence? There we have seen the arrangement of flower on the floral axis, that means on the peduncle. Phyllotaxy we have seen, that means the arrangement of leaf on the stem. Now here it is estivation. What is estivation? The arrangement of petal or sepal with respect to one another. Okay. You must have encountered, when you have seen different flowers in nature, there are enormous examples, right? Each and every flowers are unique. Okay. They have their own specific characteristics. Sometimes we see the petals are really present, free, distant from each other. Sometimes they are present so close that they are actually fused to each other. Okay. So there are different types of arrangements. Let us go through them. Okay. So the first type is the valvate type. What happens in the valvate? Basically, all the petals which are present, they are forming a roll, right? And all the petals, they do not touch each other. That means they are separately present, equidistant from each other, and they are not touching the margins of any, one another. So when the petal of a role lie adjacent to the other petal, and just such as it means, you can see it is not overlapping. See, if this is the margin, this is the margin, this is again the margin. So they are just touching each other. They are not even overlapping. Okay, this is the valvate estivation, or I can clearly say that do not touch. Okay, so they are sort of high maintenance type of flower. Okay, so each and every petals are present in a great attitude, and each and every one is saying like, do not cross the boundary, right? So basically they are not overlapping each other. They are present just end to end. Example includes oak, mustard. Okay, so these are the examples of valvate estivation where the petals are not overlapping. Second comes the twisted estivation. What happens here? Each and every petals, they are overlapping to one and another. See, one margin of the petal overlaps that of the next one. You can see this is one petal. You can see the other petal is present in such a way that it is, it is overlapping with this one. Then the next one, see this one, it is overlapping to this one. Then the next one, it is overlapping to this one, right? Again this one, this is again overlapping to this one, right? That means one margin of the petal overlaps to that of the next one. Only one margin is overlapped, right? Example includes cotton, lady's finger, and China rose. Hibiscus, right? So cotton, lady's finger, and China rose. So a Chinese man, he gifted a lady, okay, an engagement ring. He was proposing that particular lady, okay. So the ring, it consists of a cotton filament, right? So this is how you can relate this twisted estivation. You can try to recall the examples also, okay. Now moving ahead towards the next type of estivation, which is the imbricate estivation. What happens here? Please pay attention to the diagram. See, one petal, it is completely, it is overlapped on both these edges, right? One petal, it is present outside. That means it is not overlapped, or it is not surrounded by the other petals. And the rest three petals, they are present in a twisted manner. That means overlap at one edge only. You can see this one, then again this is overlapping, and then again this is overlapping. So one is completely inside, one is completely outside. Okay, so margins of sepals or petals overlap one another, but not in a particular direction. Okay, the posterior petal is the innermost. So this petal which is present innermost is the posterior petal. Okay, its both margins are overlapped, and this petal which is not overlapped, or the outermost petal, this is the anterior petal. Okay, example includes cassia, bauhinia. These are the examples of imbricate estivations. Okay guys, now moving ahead towards the vexillary, or also known as descending imbricate estivation. Again, one of the most important type of estivation, examiner's favorite. So what happens here? In the flowers where vexillary estivation is seen, there are generally 5 petals. The largest petal, this one, is known as the standard. And labeling of this particular estivation has also been asked in the examination, so pay utmost attention. The largest petal is the standard. The 2 lateral petals which are surrounded by the standard one is the wings. Okay, and the smallest one is the keel. Okay, so this type of estivations where this largest petal is overlapping or surrounding the 2 lateral petals which are known as wings, and these wings are then overlapping or surrounding the 2 smallest anterior petals which are the keel. Okay, so this type of estivation is seen in case of Leguminosae family. Example includes Pisum pea, Phaseolus bean. Okay, so it is it is also known as papilionaceous estivation or papilionaceous arrangement of the petal. Okay, so it is famous in case of legumes. These are the different types of arrangement of sepals or petals with respect to one another. So that means it is the different types of estivation. Now let us move ahead and get into get the detail of the third role, which is the androecium. And the individual unit of the androecium is known as stamen. Okay. Now, if we look at the structure of the stamen, so each and every stamen consists of 2 parts. The elongated filament-like structure, this stalk-like structure is the filament part. Okay, and the tip of the stamen consists of anther. The anther in angiosperm is generally bilobed. Okay, So the anther has generally bilobe. This is the first lobe. This is the second lobe. So this is the bilobal condition. And each lobe again has two chambers. These chambers are known as the pollen sacs. You can see in this diagram, this is the first lobe, this is the second lobe, and in each lobe, there are four pollen sacs. Basically, in each lobe, there are two pollen sacs, and in the anther, there are total four pollen sacs. And this condition of anther is known as tetrasporangiate condition. The process of formation of microspores takes place in the pollen sac. Okay, that means the pollen grains are formed inside the pollen sac. Okay, guys. Now, let us go through the different types of anther or the stamen on the basis of the attachment of filament or to the anther. Okay. So, on the basis of attachment of filament to the anther lobe, and the stamen are of four different types. The first one is the adnate type of stamen, where you can see the filament, it is covering the entire length of the anther. It is not attached at any particular point, or on the other hand, it is covering the entire length of the anther. So filament runs the whole length of the anther from the base to the apex. Example include Micalia, that is champa, and tobacco. Okay, so here we see adnate type of attachment of filament to the anther. Second one is the basifix. What happened here? The filament is attached to the anther by its base only. Here you can see it is attached at the base only. Example includes the member of Solanaceae family. Okay. Also Brassicaceae family also. So Dhatura, radish, mustard, there we have seen basifix type of filament. Moving ahead, dorsifix. What does it mean? So the filament is attached at the center, at the back side, at the dorsal side. Dorsifix at the dorsal side. That means at the back side, the filament is attached, with the help of a point in the center. So it is found in case of passiflora, also known as passion flower. Okay. So dorsifix anther is found in case of passiflora. Moving ahead towards the next type is the versatile type. What happens in the versatile type? The filament is attached to the back of the anther at a point only, and you must have noticed in this case the anther is generally in a swinging mode, because it is generally attached at a point, at a tip. So anther is in a movement type of mode. Okay, so it is in a swingy motion. So the anther can swing freely. Example is wheat, grass, maize. That means mostly the monocots. They show versatile type of this arrangement. Okay, guys. So these are the different types of stamen on the basis of the attachment of filament to the anther lobe. Now moving ahead, let us go through the different types of cohesons which are found in the stamen. First of all, what is a coheson? So cohesion means attachment of a particular part of a plant to another part. So what happens here? We are saying that means of a same part. That means when a stamen is attaching to the stamen, one type of a part is attaching with its own type, then it is known as cohesion. Okay, when a type of plant, let's say when a stamen is attaching to, let's say, carpel or petal, then the term used will be adhesion. Here when the stamen is attaching to the stamen, then it is known as cohesion. Okay. So what is happening when the stamens of an androecium are free from one another, then the condition is known as polyandrous condition. So we have seen polysepalous, polypetalous, and now it's time for polyandrous condition. Whereas when the stamens, they are united by their filament only. When they are united by their filament only, then it is known as what? Adelphic or adelphous condition. Okay, when they are united by the help of their filament only, then the condition is known as adelphous condition. Now, on the basis of the adelphous condition, there are different conditions like the monoadelphous. What happens? All the filaments which are present in the flower, they attach or they unite together and form a single bundle. Okay, surrounding the carpel. So the anther or the filament, they resemble a tube-like structure. Okay, so when all the filaments are united into a single bundle, but anthers are free. See, you can see this is the single united bundle, whereas the anther, this is the anther part, it is free from each other. In this type of cohesion, a tube is formed around the gynosium, which is called a staminal tube. That means this is what? This is the staminal tube. Okay. Example includes cotton, China rose, hollyhock, lady's finger. Okay. You can see cotton, China rose, lady's finger, they're coming together every time, right? Most of the time you can say. Now, talking about the next condition, which is diadelphous. That means the stamens are attached with the help of the filament, and di means two. That means two groups are present. In monodelphous, only single bundle was present. In the diadelphous condition, two bundles are present. And generally, the arrangement is 9 plus 1. That means out of the 10 stamens, the 9 filaments are attached together forming bundle, whereas 1 is separate. See, this is the 1, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So this type of condition is diadelphous condition, which is generally seen in case of legumes. So vexillary activation, diadelphous condition. This is how you're going to remember, because these are the questions which definitely are asked in NEET UG examination. Example includes gram, pea, bean, right? Moving ahead. The next condition is the polyadelphous condition. You understood? Here, the filaments are united into more than two bundles. That means multiple bundles are present, because till two bundles, we were calling them as diadelphous. And now, when the filaments are united into more than two bundles, then it is known as polyadelphous condition, which is known as castor lemon. Okay. So these are the examples of, adelphous conditions of stamen. So cohesion, when the filaments are attached to each other. When the filaments are attached, anthers are free, then the condition is known as adelphous condition. Now let us see another condition, which is synandrous condition. What happens in synandrous condition? The entire stamen is fused. That means the anther as well as the filament of these stamens are united throughout their whole length. This type of condition is known as synandrous or synandrous. Syn is together. Syn is what? Together, right? Androus is for androecium, and we know that androecium, the individual part of the androecium are the stamens. When all these stamens, they are united together with the help of in their entire length throughout their anther as well as their filament, then it is known as synandrous condition. Example are colocasia, alocasia, momordica, cucurbita. Okay, so these are the certain examples which are found in case of synandrous cohesion of stamen. Okay, guys. So adelphous is characterized by fusion of only the filament. Synandrous means the fusion of the entire stamen length. Okay. Now let us go through the another condition, which is syngenesis condition or synantherous condition. Synantherous. Syn is together. Antherous is anther. That means in this condition, what happens? Only the anthers they come together and fuse, whereas the filaments they stay free. Okay. You can see in this diagram, fused anther. All the anthers are fused with each other, but the filaments are free. Right? So only anthers are united in bundle, but the filaments remain free. And the example include disc florets of helianthus, that means the sunflower. There are two different types of florets, disc florets and the ray florets. So we are talking about the disc florets. So disc florets of helianthus, they show this synantherous condition. So these are the three different types of cohesion of stamens: adelphous condition, synandrous condition, and the synantherous condition. I hope you got the point. Every different modification is really easy modification. You just have to get the concept of it, right? So there is a condition which is known as polyandrous condition. Simple term, when the stamens are free. Okay, when the stamens are free, no cohesion are found. We have already seen this definition. Example is the brassica. So in brassica, that means in the mustard, what happens? Polyandrous condition is seen. So these are the cohesion of a stamen. Now let us go through the adhesion of a stamen. Okay, guys. So see, I told you when the stamen is attached to any other floral part other than the stamen, then it is known as what? Adhesion of a stamen. Okay. And what is generally seen? The stamen can stay attached to the petal. In that condition, the condition is known as epipetalous condition. Okay. When the stamens are attached to the petals, example include China rose, Dhatura, tobacco, sunflower. Second condition is epiphyllous condition. When the stamens are attached to tepals. Okay. Tepals. Remember tepals? When the calyx and corolla were fused to each other, they were known as tepals. Example includes onion, lilium. Okay, so here epiphyllous, and in the epipetalous condition, what happens? These stamens are fused to the petals. Examples are the China rose, Dhatura, tobacco, sunflower. There is another type of condition where the stamen is attached to the carpel. It is known as gynandrous condition. So when these stamens are attached to the gynoecium or by the anther, either the entire length of the stamen is attached to the gynoecium or sometimes only by their anther. This type of condition is known as is found in Calotropis aristolochia, and this type of condition is known as gynandrous. Okay, so in the adhesion part we have seen epipetalous condition, epiphyllous condition, and gynandrous condition. So these are the three conditions of adhesion of a stamen. In the cohesion of a stamen, we have seen the adelphous condition, syngenesis condition, and synarthrous condition. Okay, guys. So this was the cohesion and adhesion of a stamen. Now there is another point related to stamen, which is according to the length of the stamen are again classified into two different categories. It is didynamous condition and tetradynamous condition. Okay. What happens in didynamous condition? The stamens, there are total 4 stamens, and they are present in two rows, in the rows of 2 plus 2. That means in two rows. Okay. So when there are 4 stamens are present, out of them 2 are long and 2 are short. This condition is didynamous condition. Example, Ocimum tulsi, salvia. Okay. Then tetradynamous condition. Here the arrangement is 4 plus 2. When there are 6 stamens, they are arranged in 2 rows. In the outer row, there are 2 short stamens, while in the inner row, there are 4 long stamens. This condition is known as what? Tetradynamous condition. Example includes Brassica nigra, mustard. Okay. This is the diagram. This is the didynamous condition, 2 plus 2 condition. The outer 2 are the smaller one, inner 2 are the longer one. Tetradynamous condition, 2 plus 4. Outer 2 are the smaller one, inner 4 are the longer one. Okay, so this is the classification of a stamen on the basis of length. Okay, didynamous and tetradynamous condition. Okay, guys. So this was about a stamen. Now let us go through and study about the carpel. We know that the carpel collectively is known as gynoecium. Okay, the innermost role, or you can say the most essential role, is the gynoecium, right? So the gynoecium consists of carpel, and each carpel it consists of 3 parts. The topmost part is the stigma, the swollen bulky portion is the ovary, and the part which connects stigma to the ovary is the style, right? Although we will be seeing the diagram also, so don't worry. Then every ovary, let's say I am drawing it. Okay, so this is the stigma, this is the ovary, and this slender stalk-like portion is style. Now every ovary, it contains an ovule attached to it. It can have one or more than one ovule. Okay. What happens? The point, the point through which the stalk-like structure through which the ovule is attached to the wall of the ovary. This I'm talking about. This is known as the funicle. This is known as what? The funicle, right? And the funicle is attached to the wall of the ovary at the point. This region is known as the placenta, and we are going to discuss about the different types of placentation. Okay. What happens? Fertilization takes place inside the ovary. Inside this ovule, what happens? We know the embryo sac is present, and that embryo sac contains the female gamete, that is the egg cell, right? Now, after the fertilization, this ovule, it develops into seed, whereas this ovary, it develops into fruit. And the wall of the ovary, this gets modified to form the fruit wall, which is also known as the pericarp. Okay, so after fertilization, ovary develops into fruits and ovules develop into seeds. Gynoecium, that means, the gynoecium, that means collectively the collective group of carpel. It can be either monocarpellary or polycarpellary. That means it can contain either single carpel or more than one carpel. Okay. When more than one carpel are present, then there are two conditions. When they are present in free form, then they are known as apocarpous condition. And when they are present in fused form, then they are known as syncarpous condition. Okay. So apo is free form. Okay. Apo is hutto, right? So apo is free form, and in fused form it is syncarpous. That means when they are present together. Okay, guys. Now moving ahead, let us go through the structure. So I told you this is the stigma, which is also known as the landing platform of the pollen grain. The pollen grains, they come and land here. This is the swollen bulky portion of the ovary. Now you can see the ovule is attached to the wall of the ovary, and it contains embryo sac which contains the female gamete. Okay. The style is the part which connects the stigma to the ovary. Okay, so that's the basic structure of the gynoecium which you need to study right now. Although when you will enter into class 12 and you will study, chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, there you will be seeing the detailed structure of the carpel, and you will also study the process of formation of this carpel. Okay, and for the anther also you will be studying. Now moving ahead, see, as I told you, when more than one carpels are present in the free form, they are known as apocarpus. There is no problem. But what happens when more than one carpels are present, that too when they are present in a fused form? Okay, so how will you get to know that how many carpels are fused together? There are certain criteria through which you can know how many carpels are come together and to get fused. The number of stigma, okay, by counting the number of stigma you can know that how many carpels have fused. The number of style, okay, let's say the fusion has taken place only at the bottom portion, okay, then the number of style also you can count, or the number of lobes of ovary. Let's say this is one carpel, this is another carpel, this is another carpel. Now when they are fused together, there are two options. Once what happens, in one case what happens, all the walls, they dissolve together and it forms a single chamber. This type of ovary is known as unilocular ovary. Locular is what? The cavity of the ovary. When when they fuse together, but they do not, their end walls are present. See, this clearly represents that there are three carpels which have fused with each other. And this is the one locule, this is second locule, this is third locule. So this is what? This is trilocular or multilocular condition. So the locules is what? Locules are the lobes of the ovary. So by counting the number of the lobes also you can identify how many carpels have fused. Okay. So the ovules are attached on the ovary walls on one or more cushion called placenta. I told you that the ovules are attached on the wall of the ovary. At the site where they are attached is the nutritive tissue called placenta, through which it is driving the nutrition, right? Then the manner in which the placenta are arranged on the ovary wall is called placentation. What is placentation? See, if this is the wall of the ovary, so there can be different methods or different ways through which this placenta might be attached to the wall of the ovary. So we have to study the different types or patterns through which or by which the placenta are attached on the walls of the ovary, and this particular part we study under the heading placentation. Okay, so the next topic which we are going to study is the placentation. Again, one of the most important topics from morphology of flowering plant. So the very famous type of placentation, there are few very famous type of placentation which we are going to see. The first one is the marginal. What happens in the marginal placentation? The placenta develops on the ventral suture. Let's say what happens? The carpel have fused, right? And on the ventral suture, okay, suture is the junction, and on the ventral suture, the placenta develops. Okay, so what happens? In this type, a placenta develops on the inner junction of the margins of a carpel of a monocarpellary, unilocular, and superior ovary. Superior ovary means hypogynous condition, and is commonly found in case of members of leguminosae. We all have seen pea pods, right? What happens in case of pea pods? We have seen all the pea they are attached, at the one side of the pea pod, right? So that particular site where they are attached is the ventral suture, where the placenta develops and the ovules are attached, and we know that the ovules further develops into seeds, and that is why the peas are attached at that particular point. So this is the marginal placentation, most basic type of placentation. Now second, here comes the axial type of placentation. What happens? The placenta, the wall of the, or we can see the placenta is present on the ovary wall, but it ingrows such that it enters till the center part. It enters into the center part. You all have seen cucumber. Okay, you all must have seen the cucumber. Okay, what happens in the cucumber? You must have seen all the seeds, they are present in the center region like this. Okay, so what happens here? The placenta develops in the axil of the carpel in the center region, and this is because of the growth in the placenta. Okay, this is because of the growth. Now what happens? all the polycarpillary condition, polycarpillary because there are multiple carpels, more than 2 carpels, they are syncarpals, that means they are fused together, but yes, they are, multilocular in condition, because we can clearly see this is the first locule, this is the second locule, this is the third locule. Okay, that means there is 3 different chambers, multilocular condition, and the ovary is superior, that means hypokinous condition is seen. Okay, it is found in the members of Solanaceae. In tomato also we have seen Malvaceae, okay, Labiatae, Liliaceae, etc. So this is the exile type of placentation. The most common is the tomato. You can see, you have seen the citrus, the lemon also. Okay, then you have seen cucumber also. So in each one of them we have seen exile type of placentation, right? Then comes the parietal type of placentation. What happens here? In this type of placentation, the placenta is developed on the, on the inner wall of the ovary only. Okay, and the ovary, the carpels, the condition is tricarpillary. They are fused with each other and they have single locule. That means it is unilocular also. Okay, so what happens? The placenta develop on the inner junction or the margin of carpels. Okay, let's say, all the 3 carpels, they fuse here with each other. So on the inner junctions or the margin, what happened? The ovule are attached. Okay, then slowly what happened? The partition between these 3 ovaries, it dissolved. With this dissolved in the partition, the lobes inside the ovary, it has only single lobe. That is why it is known as unilocular condition. And the ovary is either superior or inferior. But what happens in certain cases, especially in case of, Brassicaceae family, what happens? A false partition is developed, which is known as rheplum. What happens? A false partition developed, which is known as rheplum. So this is the rheplum or the false partition. Now, because of this development of rheplum, now the ovary, it looks like it has 2 lobes. That means it looks falsely bilocular. Okay, in case of Brassica or Brassicaceae family, and sometimes it appears trilocular in the members of family Cucurbitaceae. Okay, it appears trilocular. So this is rheplum, and rheplum is what? It is a false septum. Okay, that means essentially origin wise the ovary, it is what? It is unilocular in nature. It is syncarpous. It is formed by the fusion of 3 carpels. This is the type of parietal placentation. Okay guys, now moving ahead, the next type of placentation is the free central placentation. What happens? In the central axis, on the margin of the axis, what happens? The ovules are present. Okay, so by the dissolution of the margins of the carpels, what happens? Polycarpillary, that means when more than 2 carpels were present. Syncarpous is the condition. Multilocular, okay, multilocular condition is there, and superior ovary, they fuse together in such a way that the multilocular condition now becomes what? Falsely unilocular condition. Okay, and the placenta bearing ovules develop all around the central axis. If this is the ovary, this is the central axis, and it bears the ovule like this. This is the free central. It is found in case of Dianthus primula. Okay, next come the basal type of placentation, which is the most advanced type of placentation. Here what happens? This is the ovary. The ovule is present at the base of the ovary. You have seen the capsicum? That's the example of basal placentation. The ovule is present at the base of the ovary. So the placenta develops at the base of the ovary. This is the placenta here, and here multiple seeds are present. This is the placenta. One second. This is the placenta, and to this the ovules are attached, and these ovules will further convert into the seeds. Okay, so the placenta develops at the base of the ovary, having a single attached ovule. Now ovary is unilocular. It is most advanced type of placentation seen in case of Helianthus marigold. Okay, so this is the different types of placentation which we have seen in case of Gynoecium. Okay, what is placentation? The way through which placenta is attached on the inner wall of the ovary. This is the placentation. We have seen the marginal, we have seen the parietal, exile, precentral, and the basal. Okay, now moving ahead, as I have told you that in today's class we are going to discuss about the structure of flower in detail. So now we clearly know what are the 4 different floral roles, how they are present, what are their arrangement in a flower, what are their different sorts of arrangement which can be found, right? Now in the next class, we are going to discuss about the fruit and the seed. I have already told you that the fruit develops after the fertilization. The ovary converts into the fruit, right? So the next class is all about the fruit and the seed. Okay, so for now, if you have still not pressed the like button, do press the like button and share this video to the maximum. And before taking your leave, let me again tell you my timing. I'm live daily at 5 p.m. on Let's Crack NEET UG in English for regular theory classes, right? I'm also live at 11:30 a.m. on Unacademy Learning app for my special classes. And students, if you are a sincere student preparing for NEET UG examination and have still not subscribed for NEET, Unacademy Plus or Iconic subscription, so go and take your subscription and start preparing under the best available guidance from the topmost heap of educators, right? And do not forget to use my referral code, which is AG001, to get an instant 10% discount on your course. Okay, guys. So thank you. Have a nice day.